to speak to us exclusively about their own real-life experience of something that probably isn't spoken about enough, and that is male infertility. Hi there, Katy. Hi there, Adam. How are you?
Very well.
Very good. But listen, before we talk about that...
I was doing some charity work for the RSTCA, and it was like a big launch for a campaign, and then there was suddenly normal reporters to interview me. And on the day, at the time, Katy was working for ITV Central, and she came to interview me. And what should have been a 30-minute interview turned into 5.5 hours. And I literally rang my mum that day and said, I've met the girl I'm going to marry.
The reason he says it was for me, not for her, it actually was for me as well. But because he told me straight away pretty much, I love you, and then introduced me to his mum within a week without telling me about it. I almost sort of slightly panicked and thought, is he just saying this? Is this what he's like?
Yes, I'm a player. I use my mum for all the girls I sleep with in my life.
Within sort of 3 weeks, it became completely apparent to me that he really meant everything he said. And basically, our first date, we sat in a cafe. And I've never known anything like it, because I remember looking at the clock thinking, we must have been here an hour. We'd been there 5 hours. Yeah. And it just felt like the whole world stopped. And yeah.
It's a great way to have a date. You start with one meal and you have another meal while you're there.
You start to ask for bog-offs.
Yeah.
It's such a...
I kind of always, I don't know why, but I always kind of thought I was going to have fertility problems. As a kid, for some reason, when you picture yourself when you're older, I never pictured myself with children. And I could never explain to you why. But then at the age of 22, I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is an autoimmune disorder. It manifests its way itself in different ways, which I've been on chatting about on the show. But one of them is it can affect male fertility. So, Katy comes from North Yorkshire, a very big family-orientated family. So when we did get back together, I did say to her very early on, look, I'm not sure what my fertility is going to be like. And then when it came to the point that we were going to get engaged, I sort of said, look, I'm going to get tested because it's good for us to know, what the game plan is moving forward. So I went down to London and went to see a very nice chap, did my business, came back in to meet him, and he said, Mr. Rickitt, you normally have 100 million sperm in your ejaculation. You have 3. I went, 3 million? That's not bad. He went, no, you have 3. And they're swimming in circles. And basically it was explained to me that it was because not only of the ankylosing spondylitis, but also because of the autoimmune suppressants I have to take because of that. I basically just had 0 fertility, which was scary because, as I said, I knew Katy came from a very family-orientated sort of background. And to say to somebody, look, I'm not sure we're going to be able to have children was really nerve-wracking at the time. But the way I looked at it was, if it had been Katy who couldn't have kids, I would never for 1 second have thought I'm not going to be with you for the rest of my life. So although it was a bit nerve-wracking that she was going to be disappointed, I was never worried about her leaving me or anything. I was just worried that I was going to be denying her something.
No. Which you're not.
Mm.
How did it feel for you, Katy?
To be honest, I've said before, I didn't bat an eyelid, and I kind of mean that. I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. To me, I married Adam, and everything that comes thereafter is a bonus. So if Adam can't have children, we can't have children, and that is just the way it is. So when he told me, A, he kind of teed it up a bit anyway, but B, it was just like, okay, so what do you want to do instead? So that is kind of where we've based our life now. Is, the only thing we want to do is things together. So we looked at what other things we can do together to, grow. Like we have the dogs, we have a business together. So I didn't really bat an eyelid. It was just, I love him, and what happens thereafter happens thereafter.
I want to ask Adam.
It's kind of similar to, back in the Dark Ages, in the Middle Ages, when a woman was barren, they were kind of almost ostracised from society. And I, was never going to be ostracised from society for the fact they had no swimmers. But at the same time, it was that whole thing where you were worried about being slightly mocked because of it, seen as being less manly because of it. But in truth, I just my attitude was, there is literally nothing I can do about it. This is who I am. And my fertility doesn't measure me as a person, and certainly doesn't measure me as a man. And when I did talk to people about it, because I wasn't ashamed or embarrassed of it, maybe I was at first, and fair, but then when I did, everybody was actually really good about it. Everyone's kind of like, you lucky thing. And also, now the amount of people I meet now, especially as I'm getting older now, people who, when I was younger, when I was thinking about kids, who are now my age trying to have kids, are finding that they've got difficulty as well. So it is, it is a lot bigger problem than I think people realise.
And You also
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, it's to be fair, it was a bit nerve wracking. I mean, because the weirdest thing is that you're literally put in this little room, and it's like something out of a movie. There's just this box of material that you're meant to use if you need
Move on.
it. It's just a very, very bizarre experience. But at the same time, it was kind of like I knew why I was doing it. In truth, I wasn't even doing it for me, because my attitude about whether I could or couldn't have children, it was more a question of, even if I was fertile, did or didn't I want children? It was the only thing that was making me nervous was the fact that it was, what impact would that have on Katy and any dreams she might have?
So what is life for
what they want to do with their lives? I mean, we're in a position where we can't, but we've not let it impact our life in any negative way. I mean, whereas there are parts of life we will miss out on, we're not naive. There are things we are going to miss out on. So we kind of took the opposite view. We kind of had the attitude of, well, let's try and experience things that maybe other people won't be able to if they have families and those responsibilities. So it's great. I mean, there's the careers, which I know are, it sounds like a flippant thing to say, but we both do really, I love acting. Katy loves being the presenting and the journalism, but it's more the things we get to do outside of that. The fact that we do manage to have a business together, we have the dogs, so we never feel like we're lacking in the fact that we can't give our love to something else. And then, I know some viewers will sort of watch and go, oh, well, dogs aren't children. Well, to us, they are.
Let me just tell you now, they are three of the naughtiest dogs who take the most amount of looking at. When we had this conversation about having kids, we could have tried the IVF route and that sort of thing. And I think it made us really sit down, and we knew it would be a difficult process. It would be an unlikely process because of the position we were in. And we just sort of said, I remember sitting around the kitchen table and just saying, do you want to go through this, or should we just make use of the other things we can do? And we decided to do that instead. And we do have a business together. We're very busy, like Adam said. We both love our careers as well, and it means that we can go for certain things that we wouldn't be able to perhaps if we had to move the babies between us.
And I also think, I kind of jokingly said it to Katy as well, as I genuinely don't think I had enough space in my heart for anything else other than her. So I just don't know if actually I don't feel like our relationship has lacked anything for not having children. If anything, there's things we've been able to experience which we might not have been able to experience otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Linda.